All right, guys, here are the 3 problems that I skipped because I was worried about running out of time, and I told you I would redo them. So let's look at this one. This first one is our P over Q. First thing we look for, guys, is a common factor, the greatest common factor. I can take an x out of every single one of these terms, so I'm going to. So I know that one of my answers is going to be x equals 0. I know I'm going to have a total of 5. So I found out that x equals 0. That's one of my zeros. So now I'm going to say x to the 4th plus 6x to the 3rd minus 9x squared minus 44x minus 30 equals 0. And now we're going to do our P over Q. I need to list all the factors of 30 plus and minus. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. That's a lot. Now, I do not suggest you jumping all over and just skipping to try 1 and then try 6, then try whatever. But again, you guys do what you want to do. I'm going to use synthetic division and see if 1 is a factor. So I'm going to write out my coefficients. It's 1, 6, negative 9, negative 44, and negative 30. And I'm going to see, do I have any gaps, anything? 4, 3, 2, 1. Nope, we're good. So bring down 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 times 1 is 7. Negative 9 and 7 is negative 2. Negative 2 and 1 is negative 2. Negative 44 and negative 2 is negative 46. Negative 46 and 1 is negative. That's not going to give me 0. Okay, that doesn't work. Try negative 1. Again, write out your coefficients. 1, 6, negative 9, negative 44, negative 30. Bring down the 1. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. 6 and negative 1 is 5. 5 and negative 1 is negative 5. Negative 9 and negative 5 is negative 14. Negative 14 and negative 1 is positive 14. Negative 44 and 14 is negative 30. Negative 30 times negative 1 is positive 30, and I got 0. So I found out right here that x equals negative 1 is a factor. So now I can write my resulting polynomial. I'm going to have x cubed plus 5x squared minus 14x minus 30 equals 0. I hope that this would factor out pretty, but of course it doesn't. So we're going to do synthetic division again. Plus minus the factors of the last number. So it's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. Now again, I suggest you start with positive 1. Write out your coefficients. 1, 5, negative 14, negative 30. Bring down the 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 times 1, 6. Negative 14 and 6 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 1 is, that's not going to work. All right, try negative 1. So I have 1, 5, negative 14, negative 30. So bring down my 1. 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Negative 14 and negative 4 is negative 18. Negative 18 and negative 1 is positive 18. That's not going to work. Okay, let's try 2. So we have 1, 5, negative 14, negative 30. Bring down our 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 times 2, 14. Negative 14, positive 14, 0. 0 times 2, 0. That doesn't work. All right, let's try negative 2. We'll go up here. 1, 5, negative 14, negative 30. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 times negative 2, negative 6. Negative 6 and negative 14 is negative 20. Negative 20 and negative 2 is 40. That's not going to work. Okay, let's try 3. We have 1, 5, negative 14, negative 30. So bring down our 1. 1 times 3 is 3. 5 plus 8 is, 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. Negative 14 and 24 gives me a positive 10. 10 times 3 is 30. Negative 30, positive 30, 0. X equals 3 is an answer. So I can write that right here, x equals 3. So my resulting polynomial here is x squared plus 8x plus 10 equals 0. So, in the wonderful world of factoring, this would work out perfectly, and I would have two factors of 10 that multiply to give me 10 but add to give me 8. But, guys, this one does not factor, so we have to use the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So, a is 1, b is 8, c is 10. So I have negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 10 all over 2 times 1. So we're going to simplify here. We get 8 plus or minus, I have 64 minus 40 over 2. So now we simplify further, and we're going to say 8 plus or minus 64 minus 40 is 24 over 2. And again, let's think about 24. We can break that up into 4 times 6. So square root of 4 is 2. So I have 8 plus or minus 2 root 6 over 2. So 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 8 4 times. So you have x equals 4 plus or minus root 6. So your 5 answers, ladies and gents, I know this was a long one, would be x equals negative 1, 0. And then we had 3, right? Yep. 3. And then 4 plus or minus root 6. 4 plus or minus root 6. Okay, now we come down here and we're talking about dividing. We cannot have i's in the denominator. So we need to get the i's out of the denominator. We would multiply the top and bottom by the complex conjugate. It would be 1 minus I. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So we're going to FOIL. Let's start with the bottom. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times I is negative I. I times 1 is I. I times negative I is negative I squared, right? So we're going to cross this out, make this a plus 1. My i's cancel, and I'm left with 1 plus 1 is 2. FOIL the top. We have 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times negative I is negative 5i. Negative I times 1 is negative I. And negative I times negative I is positive I squared. Well, we cross that off, change the sign. It's a negative 1. So our reals are 5 minus 1 is 4. Negative 5i and negative I is minus 6i. And again, guys, we have to simplify. So this becomes 4 over 2 minus 6i over 2. And when we simplify, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So your answer would be 2 minus 3i. All right, and lastly with our quadratic, you have to make sure everything is on the same side and set equal to 0. So we're good. I have a equals 5, b equals negative 1, and c equals positive 1. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So careful with our signs here. Negative 1, it's negative 1, plus or minus, I have negative 1 squared minus 4 times a is 5, c is 1, all over 2 times 5. So that gives me a positive 1 plus or minus negative 1 squared is, or 1 squared is 1, minus 20 over 10. So I have 1 plus or minus negative 19 over 10. That negative 19, guys, that's a problem. It's 19 times negative 1. The square root of negative 1 is I. It's got to come out in front. So you have 1 plus or minus I root 19 over 10. And there's your answer. You can't simplify anymore.